for a little walk. We finally managed to move on from Rugby, and I'm now back on track, back on the Oxford and just past Knapton. In fact, to my left, which we will have a look at a little later, is the windmill on Napton-on-the-Hill. So we're having a little walk by this field. I've got to go and post a letter, but Dottie needed a walk anyway, so the weather's been quite good today. It's been a funny old August. So just walked up to the top of the village store, just had to go and post a letter. Sun is shining nice and brightly. I'm going to go and visit a little pub called The Folly, which you actually walk by, and it would appear this Saturday there's going to be a Folly Fest. We're going to be in Banbury. The Folly Fest is going to be 12 till late. Well, should we come back for it? Should we come back for it? Purely in the interests of research. I was reminded on Facebook recently that 2 years ago I made the decision of buying a narrowboat, and I was in the process of selling my flat, thinking about the future, thinking about the job, and yeah, 2 years down the line, we're walking along the towpath somewhere in Oxfordshire. No, not Oxfordshire yet, we're still in Warwickshire, I think. Napton-on-the-Hill, it's a very nice pub. The Folly, 2 years down the line. Dottie's loving it. Actually, 2 years ago I didn't even have Dottie. I didn't have Dottie, no. I decided to get a dog as well. And Dottie was rescued. Been lovely 2 years. Not all been smooth sailing, these things never are they? But you know what? I am enjoying this 6 months. Got a nice year planned ahead. Got a nice sort of autumn planned. The projects will continue because I still would really like to do the windows. They're still the old holiday windows. They're a bit leaky, but they're going to be very expensive to change. I'd still like to do those though. I would like to paint the roof, and that needs doing, and that's a job I've just found from a chap today that he did himself, hour and a half. I've got a few rust spots which I need to treat, which I will do. But you know what? Yeah, when we get back to Essex, I'm going to tackle that myself. So definitely be a vlog about that. At some point, it was 2 years ago that it came out and it had its blacking, and possibly next year it will be done again. But the top bit needs to be painted as well. So just some things to do for the, and plus I want to paint on the inside as well.
So here's the windmill that I mentioned earlier at the top of Napton-on-the-Hill, and managed to get a little bit of a long distance shot on that. Not sure if it's a working windmill, but it does open on bank holidays and certain days, and you can go and visit. So also took just some pictures of, obviously here we were stopped right by the countryside, and there was a farmer working away because it was August and reaping time. But here's some overhead shots that I managed to get as well. And the very next day, after I took these, woke up early to tackle the Knapton flight, and that's coming up next.
Bottom of the Knapton flights, going up. The Knapton village in the background. So we're just testing the windshield in between locks. Flight of 9, we're about halfway. A little bit windy now as we go climb up into the Oxfordshire countryside. And luckily it's another beautiful day, a few clouds in the skies, and the old solar panels are getting a good roasting. And here we are at Napton Top Lock, as you might see. Fine lady in the paddles and brake for me. So that was Napton Top Lock. Water level's a little bit low here. Be careful, I think. Need to get some more in. That's Napton Top Lock, but we're still coming to another lock, which is a bit weird. But we're on our way to Cropedy.
Might keep it fresh. Thing is, it looked okay, but I didn't risk it.
We're having fun.
Didn't risk it. Otherwise, you might have got a toothache.
Beautiful day on the Oxford Canal.
I so need a dentist. If it's a dentist,
Listening to
please,
radio
I need
too.
you now.
Oh my goodness! Now what?
Okay, so done about 9 miles today. 9 locks, having come up from Napton-on-the-Hill, and we're now at a place called Fenny Compton. And I quote Fenny Compton. After Claydon locks, the canal twists and turns. That's coming north, I'm heading south. Hills and trees close in, preparing for the cutting that marks the course of the old tunnel. So we're going to be looking at that tomorrow. So it tends to double back itself a little bit, this old river. There's an old settlement, a medieval village of Wormleighton, where there's a village nearby as well as Fenny Compton. There's a wharf here and there's a marina that we're going to go and check out, and of course there's a pub that we're going to check out. But where have we come? Well, we started in Rugby. Monday we got to not too far from here, but I stopped at Folly Bridge, and that's where we were yesterday. And then from Folly Bridge, where we were this morning, we've come down these 9 locks, got to the top of the summit, and then we've come round this very windy part of the canal to get to this point, which has taken us about 6 hours. So we arrive now here at Fenny Compton. So yeah, weather's been good, the clouds are coming over now. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at the, let's have a little wander around, take Dottie for a walk, and let's have a look at what the marina can offer and perhaps what the town can offer, and the pub. Okay, let's see if we can make sense of the journey then. So we rewind a little bit. The last episode took us through Bescott locks and Stockton locks, and we filmed around there, and then we went back towards Braunston, but instead of turning down to Braunston this way, we came up the North Oxford Canal through Hill Morton, and then we finally got to Rugby, where we met the other YouTubers. Then in this particular episode we've come down and got to Knapton, and then from Knapton we've gone down through these locks, Marston Doles. This is the windy bit I was talking about. Now we finally arrived at Fenny Compton. I don't think they know what they're doing. They're trying to turn around, but the space is not big enough for their boat.
Don't turn him on.
Very narrow section of the Oxford. Luckily, no one's coming the other way. Very narrow section of the Oxford. On our way to Cropedy. From very narrow to very wide. Strange engineering back in those days. Here we are, Claydon top block. Morning! You find me on another beautiful sunny morning in August on the Oxford Canal, having just left Cropedy and heading towards Banbury. Having a weekend in Banbury before we then head down to Oxford. Just 3 locks to negotiate this morning. Did 9 yesterday, 12 the day before that, and I think this is lock number 20 something. So yeah, just this lock and one other to do before we have a nice slow amble down to Banbury. So I thought, let's have a little look at the countryside. I'm surrounded by Frisians to my right and Jerseys to my left, and I'm stuck in the middle with some moo cows. I'm not sure if you can hear in the background. It's been beautifully quiet all morning. Going under bridge 159 here on the Oxford, and then just through the trees you may see M40. Now this is not the first time that I've gone under the M40. This is probably the second time and second and last time, I suspect. What a difference, what noise. You have the railway lines obviously running alongside the canal most of the time, but you don't often come across major carriageways. But yeah, here we are, the M40, and we're going to go underneath it. I can smell roasting coffee. Don't normally smell that. There's obviously somewhere. We have a Maltons in Marston Dole in Hertfordshire. It's one of the very few last remaining coffee roasting places. They must have one here. If you had smelly vision, you would smell roasting coffee right now. Anyway, there you go. That's the M40.
So we finally arrived in Banbury, and Mandy joined me for the weekend, where we did a little bit of touristy looking around at the usual things, but nothing major to see. And just some of the history of the Ryder Cock Horse, which is obviously the main part of Banbury. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. In the next episode, Rob joins me as we head further down the Oxford. Until then, thanks for watching.